Prehistoric creatures we still can't fully explain. Scientists spent decades staring at a pair of enormous arms, desperately trying to figure out what kind of monster they belonged to. But that puzzle seems almost ordinary compared to the other bizarre creatures from Earth's deep past that we'll explore today. These are prehistoric animals that challenge everything we think we know about evolution. Let's begin with something that sounds completely impossible: whales that could actually walk on land. Around 49 million years ago, Ambulocetus roamed the Earth with 4 fully functional legs. Not flippers, not fins, but real limbs, strong enough to support its body weight on dry ground. This 3-meter-long creature had webbed feet, eyes set high on its head for spotting prey from the surface, and a specialized jaw built for underwater hearing. Could stroll across riverbanks, swim efficiently in water, and most likely spend its days lurking in shallow rivers. Waiting for thirsty animals to approach, Ambulocetus basically followed the crocodile lifestyle, long before modern crocodiles perfected it. What makes this walking whale truly strange is that it had already evolved the same underwater hearing system that modern whales use today. It channeled sound vibrations through its jawbones to its inner ears while still possessing perfectly usable land legs. Evolution wasn't just testing amphibious life, it had created a sophisticated predator that could hunt underwater and simply walk away if things got dangerous on land. Its sharp teeth were perfect for gripping struggling prey, while its powerful tail provided strong propulsion in water, and its legs allowed it to move between different hunting spots. This creature had optimized itself to be exactly where its prey least expected it. The strategy worked brilliantly until its descendants eventually committed fully to ocean life, gradually trading their legs for better swimming ability. Ambulocetus represents one of those rare, beautifully preserved transitional fossils that shows exactly how one of evolution's most dramatic shifts, from land mammal to fully aquatic whale, actually unfolded. But a walking whale is only the beginning. When the dinosaurs disappeared and the planet turned into a steaming greenhouse, evolution decided to go big with snakes. In a Colombian coal mine, scientists uncovered vertebrae the size of dinner plates and initially thought they had found an enormous crocodile. What they actually discovered was Titanoboa, a colossal snake stretching up to 47 feet long and weighing over a ton. This wasn't random gigantism. Because snakes are cold-blooded, their body size is closely tied to environmental temperature. By studying Titanoboa's bones, researchers could calculate that the region was averaging around 93 degrees Fahrenheit year-round 60 million years ago. This giant serpent lived in swampy rivers and, surprisingly, specialized in eating fish rather than crushing large land animals. Its teeth were loose and perfectly shaped for grabbing slippery, wiggling prey. As the planet gradually cooled, Titanoboa's massive body could no longer maintain its needed warmth, and the species disappeared. Meanwhile, warm-blooded mammals gained the advantage by producing their own body heat, a decision that ultimately led to us. The discovery didn't just give us a spectacular fossil. It forced climate scientists to revise their understanding of the post-dinosaur world. Sometimes paleontology accidentally creates the best biological thermometer. Speaking of aquatic nightmares, imagine encountering a scorpion the size of a canoe while swimming in a freshwater river. That was the reality in the Devonian period. Jaekelopterus grew up to 8.5 feet long and patrolled ancient rivers. In what is now Germany, first evidence was a single massive claw, 18 inches long. When scientists finally reconstructed the full animal, they found it had compound eyes for long-distance hunting, lightweight hollow bones for speed, and powerful claws equipped with specialized teeth for puncturing armor. At the time, fish were evolving thicker and thicker protective plates. Jaekelopterus responded by becoming larger and stronger in a classic evolutionary arms race. It dominated for millions of years until the late Devonian extinction wiped out many of its heavily armored prey. The giant scorpion had become too specialized when its food source vanished. So did it. Not all giants stayed in the water. When paleontologists in Texas first examined a Quetzalcoatlus wing bone, they had to measure it multiple times in disbelief. This flying reptile had a 36-foot wingspan and stood as tall as a giraffe, the largest animal ever to take to the skies. Rather than running off cliffs or waiting for strong winds, Quetzalcoatlus used its powerful arms to launch itself straight upward, nearly 8 feet into the air before unfolding its massive wings. Once airborne, it could soar for hours on thermals without flapping. For a long time, scientists assumed it was a scavenger, like a giant vulture. In reality, it spent much of its time on the ground, walking on folded wings and using its long neck to hunt small animals. Baby dinosaurs, lizards, and early mammals. It was essentially a terrestrial stork the size of a small airplane. The asteroid impact 66 million years ago ended this successful strategy. Even a giant pterosaur looks almost ordinary next to what evolution did with birds in South America. A high school student in Argentina discovered a 28-inch-long skull that revealed one of the most terrifying birds that ever lived, Kelenken. Standing 3 meters tall, with powerful running legs and a massive hooked beak reinforced like a hatchet, this terror bird was a dominant apex predator during the Miocene. After the dinosaur extinction, South America was isolated, allowing birds to take over the top predator role, while mammals dominated elsewhere. Kelenken and its relatives used their speed and brutal beaks to deliver repeated strikes, relying on pure blunt force rather than grappling. They successfully competed with saber-toothed marsupials and other mammalian carnivores. For millions of years, everything changed when the continents reconnected and more advanced mammalian predators arrived. The terror birds had become too specialized for their isolated world and couldn't compete with the newcomers. Mammals had their own collection of evolutionary oddities. Take Chalicotherium, a creature that combined a horse-like head, gorilla-style arms, and enormous sloth claws. Yet it was a peaceful leaf eater that walked on its knuckles to protect those long claws, then used them like hooks to pull down branches, essentially turning itself into a living cherry picker. It even had built-in sitting pads on its hips for comfortable breaks. This bizarre design worked perfectly in forested environments for about 15 million years. But as the climate cooled and grasslands replaced forests, Chalicotherium's highly specialized lifestyle became unsustainable. Being perfectly adapted to one specific environment proved to be its downfall. Then there's the dinosaur that treated teeth like disposable items. This sauropod replaced up to 500 teeth every 14 days, meaning a new tooth emerged somewhere in its mouth. Roughly every 20 minutes throughout its life, its skull was essentially a tooth factory with paper-thin bones, some less than 2 millimeters thick. To support all those teeth, the animal sacrificed heavy jaw muscles and a powerful bite. Instead, it kept its head pointed downward, comfortably grazing on low-growing plants near rivers in Cretaceous Africa. It was basically a 30-foot-long lawnmower. Extreme specialization came with extreme fragility. Complete skulls are incredibly rare because the delicate bones shattered easily. Even more surprising is Pegomastax, a cat-sized early Jurassic herbivore from South Africa that sat unnoticed in a museum drawer for 45 years. This tiny plant eater had a parrot-like beak, grinding teeth, a pair of sharp vampire-like fangs, and its body was covered in long, stiff bristles that made it look far more intimidating than its size suggested. The fangs weren't for eating meat, they were likely used for quick defensive nips against competitors or predators. Combined with its quill-like covering, Pegomastax was a small dinosaur with serious attitude. For 50 years, 2 massive, 8-foot-long arms sat in museums with no body attached, driving paleontologists crazy. Everyone assumed they belonged to a gigantic super predator, a Mongolian T-Rex equivalent with deadly claws and opposable thumbs. Artists depicted terrifying monsters based solely on those arms. Then in 2014, 2 nearly complete skeletons were found. The creature, Deinocheirus, turned out to be an 11-meter-long, 6-ton ornithomosaur with a duck-like bill, a camel-like hump, and feathered tail. Those terrifying claws were used for digging roots and pulling down branches. One skeleton even contained fish scales in its stomach. The ultimate killer was actually a gentle giant that waded in rivers, catching fish and eating plants, basically the Mongolian version of a giant fisherman. Finally, let's go back 267 million years, long before dinosaurs or mammals existed. In Russian swamps lived Estemmenosuchus, a theropsid with actual glandular skin instead of scales. Along with an elaborate crown of bony horns, it lived in herds, used complex social signals, and had advanced thermoregulation. This creature had already evolved key mammalian features. Glandular skin for temperature control and communication, roughly 200 million years before true mammals appeared. The horns likely helped with recognition and display while wading in swamps. After surviving multiple mass extinctions, its lineage eventually gave rise to mammals. Evolution didn't invent these traits once. It discovered them, temporarily set them aside, and brought them back when conditions were right. These extraordinary animals remind us that evolution has no rules, no sense of moderation, and certainly no chill. It produces solutions that are brilliant, bizarre, and sometimes surprisingly fragile. From walking whales to giant snakes, terror birds, and misunderstood dinosaur arms, the prehistoric world was far stranger than we could have imagined.